Welcome to Canadian Ag Safety Week 2017 webinar series, Be an Ag Safe Family, Appealing to Adults. Developing your farm safety plan, Health and Safety 101. This webinar is made available to you with the thanks to the Canadian Agricultural Safety Week 2017 sponsors, Farm Credit Canada, CN, Dow AgriSciences, and BASF. Understanding the terminology is the most important thing that we have to do, one of the most important things we have to do when it comes to farm safety. And a couple of terms to cover are hazards. Hazard is any existing or potential condition that by itself or interacting with others can result in injury, illness, death, or other losses. The important thing to remember is that hazards come in a variety of formats. They can be biological hazards, which include viruses, bacteria, and parasites. They can be chemical hazards, and they can come in the forms of liquids, gases, dusts, or fumes. Ergonomic hazards are those hazards that occur as a result of repetitive motion, vibration, or working in awkward positions. Physical hazards are the ones that we most commonly recognize, but they also include things such as noise, energy, electricity, and health-related events that could cause damage. Workplace stress is also a hazard, and workplace stress occurs in the forms of harassment, fatigue from shift work, and simply the pressures of working and having more terminology that we should be aware of is the term risk. And risk is the product of a product of severity and probability. Risk then can be identified in a variety of fashions in terms of risk acceptance, and that is the person's willingness to accept the risk. Risk control is the strategy used for mitigating the risk and minimizing its impact on the operation. Risk management rides closely with risk control in terms of how do you manage that risk. And lastly, risk perception. How many people perceive the risk to be real, and how many perceive the severity of that risk. Hazard information can be drawn from several sources. Owner's manuals and operator manuals provide us with a lot of information. Material safety data sheets provide information on the hazards associated with hazardous materials and chemicals. Suppliers, when they provide product to us, oftentimes provide us with information regarding that product, and that information may include hazard information. Hazard information also comes to us from reports and records of events that have occurred, and we can gather information about those events through a variety of aspects, including inspections. That means looking around and seeing what's going on and what is the probability of something happening, as well as from investigations. Investigations typically occur after an event has occurred, a close call, a near miss, or an actual incident. Those sources of information provide us with very significant hazard information, and we have to take a look at that hazard information. That hazard information applies from multiple sources. People may provide hazards to a situation. The equipment we're using may provide hazards and contribute hazards to that situation, as in the materials and the environment as well are all contributing factors. We have to take all of those into consideration when we are doing our risk assessment to determine the degree of hazard. Once we've determined that degree of risk associated with that hazard, we then should implement a control strategy. The control strategy can be implemented at a variety of locations. It can be implemented at the source of where the hazard is emanating from, and that may include elimination, substitution, redesign, or isolation and containment of that hazard. It can be controlled along the path to the worker. That may mean relocating the hazard source, creating barriers between the worker and the hazard, or absorbing and diluting the hazard before it gets to the worker. The third level of control can occur at the worker, And those levels of control at the worker for the hazards may include administrative controls, which are operational policies and procedures. They may include additional training for the worker, supervision to ensure the worker is completing the task in the fashion in which they were instructed to do so, housekeeping, maintenance and repair, hygiene practices, and the utilization of personal protective equipment to control that hazard from impacting the worker. Previously I mentioned inspections. Inspections provide us with a wealth of information. They tell us who is exposed, who is involved, who designed the work, who may be at risk of the hazards associated from that work. What are the hazards? Where are they emanating from? Where are they going? When are those hazards greatest? And how might they impact us? We have to keep in perspective that it's not only the people we are looking at, but we also have to look at the equipment, the materials, and in the environment in which those hazards are present. When we're doing an inspection, checklists are certainly helpful, but checklists also should not be used exclusively. The person conducting the inspection needs to think beyond what is on the checklist. Everything may not be included on that checklist that is present during that inspection. When something is identified as being concerning for the person doing the inspection, take action, prioritize it, write it down, identify when that issue has to be addressed, and keep that record in place. Investigations also are a source of information. When do you investigate? You investigate whenever there are close calls or near misses or an actual incident. When you're doing the investigation, you must visualize what happened. Talk about it to learn more about what happened, but don't blame people for it. You want to get all the information as clearly and accurately as you can without influencing the outcome of the information that you get. And again, remember, you assess the influence of the people, the equipment, the materials, and the environment. Once you've collected that information, make the changes necessary to control those hazards and to prevent that incident from reoccurring. Keep a record of what you've done. Write it down. Incidents in our workplace can cost us significant money. They don't cost us money in terms of just us receiving a bill, but rather they impact the economy of our farms. A minor injury may result in economic impact to our farming operation of up to about $700. Serious incidents where the hospitalization is required can cost $10,000 or more to that farm's economy because of loss of productivity, the need for replacement workers, the need for training, taking away management from what they were previously doing to deal with the incident. Permanent disabilities are estimated to cost at least $143,000, and a fatality may impact the farm's economy anywhere between $275,000 and upward. Take the first step. Create a general safety policy. As part of Canadian Agricultural Safety Week 2017, CASA will make available free of charge the Canada FarmSafe plan. Visit agsafetyweek.ca. Download the fillable template for creating a general policy statement for your farm, and once you've completed it, you are then able to download the complete Canada FarmSafe plan. Thank you. I'm Glenn Blahy, the Agricultural Health and Safety Specialist for the Canadian Agricultural Safety Association, and I encourage you to be an Ag Safe family. Think about farm safety.